Alright, so we're back in the world of Clair Obscure Expedition 33, and in today's video, guys, I'm going to be showing you my early game, usually around like Act 1, Act 2 build that I'm using. That's going to be really good for players who want a more defensive playstyle that can still deal some pretty good burst DPS. This build is centered around Maelle as well as Lune. You can use whoever you want as your like other character, and they basically carry in terms of defense and offense. Lune will essentially be your hyper carry. We use her to pretty much spam mayhem almost constantly, just blowing up enemies with elemental damage all across the board, seeing that she has a wide variety of spells that can kind of tackle every situation. And then we use Maelle as our defensive AP bot, where she has pretty extreme defense and she protects her allies while also giving them buffs, debuffing enemies, and then most importantly, giving them tons of AP for them to just dump into enemies to kill them very decisively. If you're a player who loves defensive playstyles while also still having some good burst damage, this build is going to be really good for you. You don't really have to parry as much. Ideally you want to, but you don't have to. And this build will still reward you. That's kind of the core design of this build. Let me show you how to make the build. Alright, now that we have a better idea of how the build works, let me go over the different individual parts and kind of break it down to you. And one thing that's really important to note, this is mainly focused around Lune as well as Maelle. I know it's Lune, but I'm gonna call her Lune. But the third person that you can use whoever you want, but I would ideally recommend someone that can apply a reliable mark. That would be, in my opinion, better, so you'll have a little bit more damage uptime, especially on your mayhem. But again, use whoever you want your third, but someone who can mark would be pretty good. So you can see everyone's level 20 for the most part. So again, this is like an early game build. I'm gonna go over Maelle first because I think hers is the most important. So the core concept of this build revolves around her weapon. And I'll have this playing on screen where the weapon is because I don't remember exactly where it is. And what this does is whenever you're in defense stance, whenever you gain AP, your AP will also go to your allies. So generally speaking, you want her to be in defensive stance, and that's kind of the core design. Now, ideally, you would want this weapon at the bare minimum to be level 10. What I have in this video is mainly level 7 and lower, just for reference. And this is a defense scaling weapon, defense agi scaling weapon. And whenever you get it to level 10, whenever you go back to a stanceless stance, you will go back to defense stance. And defense stance is ideal because it's going to reduce the damage that you take. And again, you get that AP bonus going to allies, and that's kind of the whole core concept of the build. Now, the way we actually really enable this is by using energizing paint. And this is a Picto that does, you no longer get AP on parrying, but whenever you take a hit, you will gain additional AP. And whenever you're in defensive stance, the AP will go to your allies, meaning, generally speaking, you want her getting punched. Now, you have some other things that will help her defensively. For example, confident, you will take 50% less damage, but you can't heal. If you have a healer, you could in theory take this off and have someone heal focus, and because she's going to get a lot of the damage pressure. But in my opinion, I haven't felt like I've had a problem with her dying because her HP is really high and her defense is really high. And so you generally kill because you have so much AP dumping into your other characters that she doesn't have to endure long for the most part. But earlier on, it'll be a little bit harder if your characters aren't as bursty. But ideally, you want characters who can take advantage of AP much as possible with this build. We also have SOS Shell, which is going to apply Shell when falling below 50% HP and just going to make her super even more tankier. You don't need to have this, but I like to have it. And then for the other ones we have Energizing Start, and this is just going to give her 1 AP in battle. You can add whatever you want. Additionally, as you get more of these Lumini points, we only have 5 right now, so we didn't have a lot of extra left over, but that's how we're going to build her in terms of her passives. In terms of her skills, we're going to be using a combination of different skills. So first off, we're going to be using Guard Down. This is going to apply defenseless to all enemies for 3 turns. This is just a great way because she's going to be a buff bot. Like, she's not really dealing too much damage herself. But your other 2 characters are dealing some damage, and her little piercing, it kind of does good damage as well. But for the most part, you're mainly using her as a buff, debuff bot. And then eventually, when you get more points, she will get the thing to like break shields. And she's going to functionally function as your frontlining defensive character that buffs and debuffs and give you AP. So Guard Down is what we're going to be using. And then we're going to be picking up Guard Up. This is going to apply Shell to you as well as your allies. And this is really good in combination with whatever the hell this word is. This protect allies by taking turns for them, and this is kind of where a lot of your defensiveness comes in, because she'll jump in front of them, and then she'll take the punches, and she'll get the AP, and the AP will go to the allies. And this duration is extended by 1 whenever you get shell. And so guard up, guard down, these are super synergistic. Guard up is going to give you more turns, going to give you more defense, give allies more defense just in case, like, I don't know, they get targeted or something. And then this is going to give you more AP bonus whenever you're using it. We're also going to be using Spark. This is just going to be a little bit of a dump just for Lune, because sometimes she just needs a little bit of fire damage to be able, well, burning on enemies to like trigger some of her synergies we'll talk about in a second. So we're using that. We're using the per se. I don't know how to say this. And this is just another one of those like AP dumps, because when she has full AP, she can't gain more AP, and more AP can't be given to your other allies. So that's why we're using these like super high cost ones ideally. And that's kind of what we want to do. And then we're going to use Menzo Forte. And what this does is this will reapply your current state. And ideally when you're in defensive state, this is going to give you 2 to 4 AP. Since you're going to try to keep defensive state, you're going to use this in defensive state as 1 cost. You're going to get 2 to 4, and then this is going to go to your ally since you're already going to be in defensive state, and it's going to give you AP. Again, this is just an AP dump for your ally. That's pretty much it. I think that makes a lot of sense for the most part. You're just using her as a defense bot, a buff bot, AP bot, and she just pretty much tanks everything for you. It's really, really nice. Now for our Lune, we're going to be using, for our weapon, we're going to be using this weapon, the Tree Buckshim. I think I said that correctly. And the only way to get this is, that I know of, is from the arena quest. So whenever you're doing the arena quest in Act 1 with the little, I don't know, wood people, you'll get this. And what this does is this will generate a random strain whenever you stain whenever you free aim shoot. You're going to get a lot of AP, generally speaking, from like marking and from other things. And this is going to give you extra strains, and then you're going to cast Mayhem, and Mayhem's going to blow everything up, and we're building around Mayhem. Whenever you get this to level 10, you're going to get 1 AP whenever a stain is consumed. And seeing that you're going to always be consuming them when you use Mayhem, you're just going to pretty much get free AP for using Mayhem. Like, Mayhem doesn't cost anything at that point. You will always get more from it. So that's kind of why we want this weapon. It's like super synergistic. It has B scaling on vitality, so you pump defense with it. Then you get C scaling with luck. And this is going to give us more crit. And that is actually pretty good for her, because there's other things that we can use in the future that's going to build around crit anyway. So this works really well. So looking at our Pictos, we're going to be using Rewarding Mark. You get 2 AP on dealing damage to a marked target once per turn. And this is going to be really synergistic with you, because again, this is kind of why I said having a marked ally with you is super synergistic, because if they can apply a mark, and like for our example, for our character, Verso has slightly more speed than her, and he will go first, and then he can apply marks, and then she will get her follow-up turn. He'll get this whenever she shoots with her free aim, because she's going to shoot it because she wants to generate stains. And this, plus she's going to have Energizing Start, which is going to give you plus 1 to AP whenever the battle starts. Once again, tons of HP, things that are really good for her, speed, defense. And then so by the time your first turn actually goes out, you're casting Mayhem the moment the fight starts. So that's kind of the synergies that work really well. And if you don't cast Mayhem the first turn, you're going to always get the second turn, because Maelle is going to basically protect you, and she's going to dump AP into you, so you're always going to be able to cast Mayhem almost constantly in this fight. We're using Dodger because we haven't found anything better, but sometimes she does get targeted. I don't know, maybe I get something different in the future, but that's what we're using. And then for her augments, we're using Augmented Aim. This is going to give us increased free aim damage, because we're always free aiming anyway, so we may as well get a little bit of damage on top of it. I don't know if there's an easier way to look at this. We're using Burning Shots, 20% chance to burn on free aim shots. And this is super good, because seeing that we're free aiming a ton, and we're going to skip to some skills really quick, we're going to put burn on them a lot. And so Thermal Transfer is going to give us the ability to get 4 AP whenever we use this on an enemy who has burning. And so this will give us a ton of AP. And then if we have 2 earth, I think that is, or 2, is that earth or light, whatever. Whenever we have 2 earth, this will give us the ability to get a second turn. In a lot of cases, because we're like getting random stains sometimes, a lot of cases you'll actually get this and consume it, and you'll be able to do multi-turns with her. So this is a pretty good multi-turn build kind of thing early on as well. Marking Shots, we also put that on her as well. Where is it? And this will make it so that she has a chance to apply the mark herself as well. So while you're free aiming and shooting, she'll be able to mark them, so it'll give her a little bit more mark synergy. And then we have SOS Shell. This applies shell when falling below 50%. I just kind of gave her a little bit of defense because she's not the most vulnerable, but she can be at times. And that's kind of what we use here. Use whatever you want there. But yeah, that's what we're using for how her passives. For her skills, we already talked about thermal transfer. That's an AP generator. Immolation, sometimes we need a little bit of fire to proc our abilities whenever our two other characters don't do it. Sometimes it happens, very rarely does, but we'll use it. We have Thunderfall. This is just a lightning option. It really doesn't matter. Most of these skills don't really matter for the most part because you're almost never using anything other than Mayhem for the most part. Then we have Ice Lance because it slows and it's okay. It has good synergy. We always have a lot of AP. And then, of course, Mayhem's our bread and butter. Like, this is the most important skill of it all. This will consume all your stains. You'll deal high burst damage, and this also can break whenever you use all your stains, and you're going to always use all your stains. Like, very seldomly do I cast this spell with like 3. But more times than not is with 4, and she's going to do a lot of like burst damage with it. Going over Verso for a second because I'm using Verso, but you can use whoever you want. As long as they have some type of marking, I think it would be more synergistic. I'm just show you his basics. I'm not going to go over anything too in depth. But he has a lot of the same stuff. Burning shots, marking shots, augmented aim, a rewarding mark, and dodger. We already talked about all these different things. I want him to apply marks too sometimes too, so that he can help Lune get her stuff. And we're just kind of making her a hyper carry. But he does do a lot of damage because he has a lot of AP himself. And then I use Assault 0, Perfect Recovery, Purification from Fire, Marking Shot, because that's, Marking Shot, and then Quick Strike. And then for our weapon, we're using this thing, Lucerne. And this makes it so we can go lower than rank C. Generally speaking, I haven't really put too much work into Verso. I mainly built around Lune. She's my hyper carry. But I'll probably update this build probably tomorrow or the day after whenever we get another build video, probably for mid-game. And we'll go a little bit more in depth in his setup later. For all the character attributes, I'm going to just put this all in one section so it's a little bit easier for you guys to see it. For Lune, we have 27 in Vit, 15 in Agility, 18 in Luck. When I do something different here, I'll probably give her more Agi. I'll probably take 3 or 4 points out of Vitality, maybe 2 or 3 out of Luck, and give it to Agility. I think she should be a little bit more agile. 400 speeds, I guess, acceptable in Act 1, but I think you would get more speed in higher acts. So that's I'll do her attributes. Verso, I have him super high vitality and agi with some defense. Kind of straightforward there. Feels like this is pretty good. And then for Maelle, we have very heavy into defense, and she's a beast scaling defense character with some in agi. And then, of course, we have some in vitality, of course, because we want her to be tanky, and she's sitting at like 1055 HP, 149 defense, plus all her defensive stuff really makes her hard to kill. So that's how her stats are set up. So I'm going to show you guys a very quick mock-up of the fight, just so you guys have a better idea of how it plays or how to play it. So yeah, let's go over that quickly and just do a quick fight. Hopefully it's not too loud. This game's really weirdly loud sometimes. Alright, so generally we'll start off trying to mark or break shields. Doesn't matter too much. So he's marked. So we can just attack someone. Doesn't matter too much. Skills. We're gonna cast the protection, and this is just gonna help start our AP. Gets her in defensive stance, and she's gonna just shoot. So we already, as you can see here, we already have 7 right now on us, and we can just blow up an enemy like that. I don't know, shoot at him, and he's marked as well. Just kill him, I guess. And then go to Mayhem. And as you can see, we already got full stands, and we'll just blow up the enemy like that. We don't care because she's gonna give us AP. I mean, generally, you can like dodge that if you want to dodge the group stuff. I just don't dodge the group stuff because we can take it. And he can be like a hyper carry damage dealer, but we just fish for marks basically like that. Like we can hit him here, but we're not going to. Again, obviously it's going to depend on the situation of the fight. And she's going to come up, her turn, get a free mark. And she is burning here, so since we got burn on it, And this is the kind of thing, you have like so many options that you can go there. Boom, boom. Now we have 5 AP, and for the next turn, we'll be able to essentially mayhem if we wanted to, because she already have so many stains. She's gonna get 7, and if let's say this turn goes by and she gets hit or something, so I'll just show you. We'll go like this. No, we probably shouldn't have done that one. We should have done the one that prolongs. I just misclicked. But let's say, for example, let's end this fight. Skip this. And he hits. Say he hits her, for example. Boom. And that's gonna give more AP to her. So no matter what, like, worst comes to worst, you will always get a basically a second mayhem. Like, you'll always be able to get mayhem. You may skip a turn here and there, but you'll always get one. Do I need to hit to get it? He's gonna die. But anyway, that's kind of the core concept of how the build works. You can make Verso attack. You can make your hyper carry attack. Due to the fact that we did so much more damage to these enemies, generally speaking, if they're like a little bit more on level, they will attack Maelle, and then she will get more AP, and then Verso would have a ton of AP, and you know, that's how it flowed. But since we killed everything so early, nothing really attacked. It's really hard to like give you an example of it. But yeah, that's kind of the core concept of the build. I'll have something at the end where we face off against the Act 1 boss, just so you guys can see how it works in action on something a little bit more on par. But that's just how the build plays, basically. And there you have it, guys. That is my early game build for Expedition 33. This is a very safe defensive build that I feel like is really strong. The thing I like about it so much is, even if you fail parries, you fail like a lot of the attacks, you still get away with it because you're so defensive. And Maelle can just pretty much just man fight and tank everything for you. You guys know I love defensive builds, but yeah, I have a lot more Clear Obscure Expedition 33 content. I'm gonna call it Expedition 33. I have more Expedition 33 coming here on the channel. So make sure you are staying tuned, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Support the channel, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video very soon. Enjoy this this final fight.
Let the ink flow. Storm is coming. Let the ink flow. Ready to evade. Careful, Maelle.
Get ready. Get ready.
I'm ready. Let the ink flow.
For those who come after.